because we don't think about it. Even being very opinionated about different things that are happening. This is still because of you're under the influence of this pressure. Where before, you know, you're not necessarily so important what Trump says and this, now it's like everything is affecting us. We're home, we're under a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And this uncertainty, what's going to happen? Are we going to lose our jobs? What's going to happen next? How is the earth going to respond, etc.? We're like sitting in a pressure cooker. It's not just you're sitting at home. You're under a lot of pressure from every direction. And as we are under these pressures, it's harder and harder for us to focus on doing the light work that we're trying to do. And so what I am happy to see is that you, me, and a lot of my friends are very focused on keeping that candle lit and maintaining the sense of center no matter what is going on. And because we, or at least I'll say about myself, I study spiritism a lot, and with the understanding that we are a spirit in a material body, we can a little bit fade out the intensity around the fear of death, because we know that this is one vehicle, that we'll get another one, and the process continues. So we don't have to be so fearful. If this is it, guys, at least we went with a smile and we did everything we could in this lifetime. We'll come back, we'll do everything again in a different setting, maybe better one. So what is important in this time is to take two practices that help us remember. And prayers are probably one of the best practices in this type of situation, no?
Yeah. What exactly? And that's what we're all being asked for. It seems like right now is, you know, we've been training and studying and running around the whole world, a lot of us finding new practices and learning things and developing, you know, different ways that we like to work with our bodies and our minds and spirituality. And then right now we get to actually put it into effect when the pressure has been turned up a little bit and things are more like extreme, like we're experiencing the extreme version of everything. And that can be extremely troubling and confusing and painful. And also, maybe some of you are also witnessing, there is also an extreme amount of joy and centeredness inside of this that's possible. And so it does feel like now is the time to be developing, if we haven't had a prayer practice, to be developing it in some way, to be revisiting what it means for each one of us, because all of us have these different relationships to prayer. And I think that especially in the West, we've been kind of abused in some ways around our religious upbringing. And so our relationship to prayer sometimes feels outside of us, or disjointed, or not authentic, like we're trying to find that authentic expression. So like, Kai, what do you think about that? About the, like, how do we find the authentic expression of our own prayer practice?
Beautiful story about farmer who was illiterate, and he was born Jewish, but he never had the time to go to really study prayer properly, you know, according to the Jewish tradition. So, however, he was very devout and very connected to God. And every day he would stand next to his tree at the end of the day, and he said, God, you know, I have one field, and it's so hard sometimes for me to work this field. There's a lot of stones and a lot of work. So if I have one field and you're a God, you probably have 1,000,000 fields. So I can imagine that at the end of the day, you're very tired. So if I can in any way help you in this moment, if you need a towel for your sweat, or you need me to take some of those stones, I'm willing to do that for you. Please ask me. And you know, God, I have one wife for many years, and I love her. But you know, God, sometimes it's a little hard because I don't know how to help and support her. So if I have one wife and you're God, you have a million wives. So I can imagine your head is probably, so if you need the Advil or something, or just a shoulder, I'm here for you. And like that, everything in his life, he would say, God, you have a million of. And then he would hug the tree and he would go to sleep. One day, a rabbi walked by that tree and he saw, oh, there's a Jew there praying. Let me hear what he's saying. So he listened to the prayer, listens. Oh my God, this is blasphemy, sweating, million wives, Advil, this is horrible. So he comes to the farmer and he says, oh my dear son, you have been doing so wrong all these years of praying in this way. Let me teach you how to pray. So he gave him the book and he taught him. And from that day on, the farmer, so happy every day, praying like everyone else. And that night, in the first time of his life, the rabbi was visited by God in a dream. And God looked at him crying and he said, what have you done? My greatest believer you've taken from me today. And that's the point, because there's no one way to pray. There's no right prayer. A prayer is the tears of your soul. It's an expression of intimacy. And it is also an esoteric practice, which means that it does not belong to any tradition or religion or anything like that. There's another beautiful short story about a yogi. I'm not going to tell the whole story about a yogi. There were two yogis, one that did the fire circle and all the puja with all the elements and everything was just right. And he would never feel God. And one time he went to his friend and his friend had one stone and one leaf. And when he placed the leaf on the stone, the skies were opening and God would appear. It's not about what you do, how many things you have, what you have on your altar. Your heart is the altar. Your heart is the altar of love. What you bring out, what you say, what you express with words, without words, is your prayer. You, and interestingly, a human soul, a human heart, is God's prayer. That's when God prays, this is how it looks like, you. But you would say, but I'm not perfect. I have problems. Yeah, because the prayer is a recognition of reality. So you'll see, I'll probably read one of my prayers soon, that prayers are not only, oh, God, give me a new car and finish this virus. And no, it's a recognition of where you're at. Dear God, at this moment, I have fear. That is your truth. You're not asking to change it. You're not asking to get something else out of it. And in a different call that I had, someone had a problem with the word God. Say, okay, so say, dear self, dear life, dear great unicorn in the sky, whatever makes you feel more connected, whatever is true for you. You can say, you don't have to say dear anything. But there is one important part to a prayer. You can pray to yourself or to your higher self. But the activation of the prayer, what makes it so unique, is that it is a conversation. If you don't want to talk to somebody, then you meditate, you listen, you're inwards. A prayer is a moment of humility, of recognition that I am not that great, that I'm the only thing here. There's other things. There is greatness, there is life, I'm a part of something much grander than me. And so you are opening a conversation. And it's interesting because people ask, are prayers answered? So if I ask, are they answered? They're immediately answered. However, the result of the prayer, what you're asking for, has to go in accordance to divine law and free will. When you came here to this reality, you, just a minute before, you were sitting with God in the astral, a few angels, and you charted your life. This is what's called the divine plan. You said, in this age, I will have this. In this age, I will meet Kat. In this age, I will meet Mayra. In this age, I will meet this and this and this and this, and this is what's going to happen to me, and I will have this kind of car. Whatever, you charted the whole thing. You charted your challenges, so that's annoying jerk X, and everything. So suddenly you're going to offer a prayer, God, I want a partner and a new car and this and this. But God say, I'm sorry, but there are pre-existing conditions here. You asked for exactly this, or why should we change this? So there are ways to ask for what's called divine intervention, or to offer what's called an appeal, like in court. You say, well, this is what we asked, but I'm appealing this because I've learned a few things and I think I want to speed up the process. Most prayers that are around self, meaning changing, I want a car, I want this, will not be answered because of the preconditions. And I explained this in this way. So, you know, in India, many people pray to Ganesh to remove the obstacles and give them things, or Lakshmi, give me money. So imagine that you go to where Ganesh is. There's this huge office, says Ganesh, knock on the door, you open the door, you sit, and he says, yes. Ah, no, you're not there. You prayed, so that's like a letter. So he receives the letter, he opens the letter, and says, let's say who? Lena said, Dear Ganesh, I would like a new car, and this and this and this. So Ganesh is in the astral, he's in the spiritual, so say, don't have a car, don't have a new house. Next. But then one day, he receives a letter from Indy, and he says, Dear Ganesh, help me open my heart. I find sometimes I have a fear of abandonment. Can you help me abandon my fear of abandonment? And Ganesha will say, yeah, that I have, that I can help you. And that prayer will be immediately answered. So it's not why my prayer isn't answered. It's perhaps you're not asking for what the divine can actually help you with. So a prayer is not only an act of humility outwards. Yes, I'm recognizing Ganesh is there, God is there, but it's also a really important point of sincerity. This is really my truth. Oh, dear God, thank you for everything that I have. But a minute before, like, oh my God, I have no money for rent. Thank you, God, for this challenge. It's so hard for me in this moment. I ask that you open my heart to see life in a different perspective. Oh, that I have, that I can do. Right? Make sense? Lena, right? Ganesh, what do you agree?
Yeah, we're agreeing here. Yeah, and this is that you know, that powerful piece around relationship, that we have a relationship to both ourselves, to be able to understand what it is that we value, what it is that we're like, that longing and the searching that a lot of us have inside, like what is that connected to, and what am I seeking in the prayer? Like, so often we're seeking something because we think, well, if I got this thing, then I would be happy, or I would, you know, I would have joy if I had this thing, instead of being in the space of, oh, well, what's my connection actually to joy and to the expression of joy inside of my prayer and inside of that as a practice, so that it's expanding that within me as I'm connecting to what, you know, whatever my relationship is to source or to a deity that I'm working with, or so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what are some of the different, like, what are some of the different ways, like, as you talked about an appeal, and you talked about how we sort of work in these different, because what I, you know, I said this is like the technology of devotion. So it's like, there's the like creative, artistic expression of prayer that's like, okay, it's just coming from my heart and it's just pouring through me. And then there's also the technology of it, and sort of the different ways that it works, that it has, there's in some ways, there's the inspiration and the creativity inside of it, and then there's also some structure to it, right?
Well,
In some way.
coming back to the farmer, the structure is what works for your heart. So whatever your heart really is in tune with. And now, as we're talking about the technology, throughout human history, we had many different teachers or guides that brought to us what we call different salutations. So for example, if I go and I want to say hello to Maya and we meet in the street, we can't do it right now because of distancing, but in usual, you go and you shake their hands. Hello, I'm Kai. Hi, I'm Maya, right? But in that handshake, I'm saying a lot. I'm saying, nice to meet you. I'm open to you. I want to hear from you. Let's connect. But you're not saying all of this. You're just saying, hi, I'm Kai, or nice to see you. That's it. All of that is implied, that there is a gesture of connection. There are many different salutations or gestures of connection that have been described to us by the different teachers in order for us to invoke the presence of different beings. So, for example, we have invocations, we have prayers, we have appeals, we have creeds. There's one more. And we have affirmations. So these are different ways to express a certain type of truth, and certain of them relate generically to a non-specific being or God or whatever, whoever hears. And then you can make very specific requests. So for example, we can say an invocation. I call upon and I invoke the presence of Archangel Michael, asking for my higher self to shine, to illuminate this challenge, to give me guidance in this moment of darkness, to support me and my brothers and sisters. That's a very short, like on the spot invocation. So in an invocation, what I'm doing is I'm calling something to the present or someone. I call upon and I invoke the presence of Archangel Michael. So I'm very specific with my invocation. And you can invoke also, I call upon and I invoke the presence of divine love. I call upon and I invoke the spirit of truth. I call upon and I invoke my higher self. So you are starting your invocation with a very clear direction. So where am I directing this prayer? As you study, especially arcanology, you will learn the different differences between the different archangels and what we call the different rays, it's not a hierarchy, it's important to say, but the different levels of different functions within the archangel. So for example, when I call upon Archangel Uriel, Archangel Michael, which are from the blue ray, these will be invocations that talk about myself. If I want to ask for healing for someone else, call upon and I invoke the presence of Archangel Raphael, asking on behalf of my godfather Joao, asking for his healing, asking that he will come out of the hospital very quickly. So this is an invocation on behalf of someone else. So Archangel Raphael, or anything from above the fourth ray and above, it will be for others. So seventh ray, violet flame, Archangel Zidkiel, Archangel Saint Germain, Archangel Raziel. These are beings that are so big that I can't ask for cat, but I can ask for humanity. So Archangel Brahiel, angel of blessing. You can call blessing planet Earth or even this galaxy. You can call an angel in that size for something small like a person, but it's not going to have the same type of frequency or same type of effect. So those are invocations. Creeds are, for example, we have the mediumship creed, the healer's creed, the messenger's creed, very powerful. And these creeds are declarations of instructions. So usually creeds will be channeled by some kind of other being given as a point of instruction. Then we have a prayer, which the prayers that I receive and write are very much formatted according to Spiritism by Allan Kardec or Chico Xavier. So they follow the format of recognition of where you're at. So for example, a prayer for releasing anger will be first, I am angry. Not like, please, I want to not be angry. I am angry. This is my truth. This is my reality. That's what's going on. So the beginning will be a description of my current state. Then a calling on angels. Angels of tranquility and peace. Open my heart. Guide me. The next part would be, okay, now that I've received this guidance, how do I see things differently? And of course, at the end, gratitude to God for opening my heart and allowing this prayer to come into place. That's a prayer. An appeal. An appeal will always be on behalf of someone else or on behalf of a determined decision. So something happened to you, or someone happened to someone else. I have, for example, an appeal on behalf of the Amazon forests. So when all the things happened, our beloved friends in the tribes and the fires, there was the appeal for the Amazon, asking different beings to intercede on behalf and influence the decision makers, especially in Brazil and Peru, to take different choices around the choices that they've been making. And last will be affirmations, which is a personal declaration of power. It is under the same category of prayer, because a strong affirmation will be a statement of the present. So I am affirming. So it's interesting because most affirmations, and I'm talking about affirmations that are coming from this source, more spiritism. You hear most affirmation is, I am healthy and happy, and there is no virus. That is not absolutely not true. So your subconscious mind is saying, how would you like me to manifest this? This is absolutely not my truth. My teeth are hurting, this, and you're like, my teeth are good. No, it's not true. It's not what's going on. So an affirmation is, from this moment on, I am choosing to make choices that will align me with health in the body, peace in the spirit, and love in the heart. In this moment, I'm making a certain declaration. That is an affirmation. I am affirming that I'm calling in of a vibration of healing that will heal planet Earth. You're affirming the calling. You're not affirming that it happened. And that is something that your mind and your soul can actually access. This is a vibration that you have access to. If you're affirming something that didn't happen, you'll be like, that's not, it's just not going on. Right? All the secret and the art of attraction, law of attraction. It's like, I want to attract a Porsche. Why? There is absolutely no reason for you to have a Porsche. It's not in your divine plan. However, the rule of manifestation, if you want to call in something that you don't have, you don't need to focus on the how or the what. You need to focus on the why. So I would like to attract much more abundance into my life. If I'm focusing on how it would come like this and from the internet or this or what, that will not be heard. If you'll be focused on the what, and I want it, or for example, people that want a partner. So they describe a million details. They will be this color eyes and this like that and like that, like that. That is focusing on the what. It will not happen. The only way to manifest is to focus on the why. I would like, dear God, I am asking for more abundance because I would like to support my brothers and sisters more. I have so many friends in Brazil that need my assistance. I ask that you give me. And I'm not shy in asking for more, because this more will be utilized to glorify life, to build beautiful support systems for other people like that. That is a why that is going to work. So these are the different.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Kai. I wanted you to spell that out for everybody, because I think this is an important distinction, yes? That we can start to build in, like, okay, here's where I'm coming from, here's what I'm working with, and now here's how I'm going to structure this creation of prayer that I'm in. And Kai's been talking about the Amazon, so I just want to remind everybody that we are here asking for you, if you feel inspired by this in any way at all, to make a donation for Stand for Trees. I just put the link in the chat box. We're not asking for anything for this for Kai or I. We are, we can all be aware that right now at this time that probably donations on things are really drying up right now. People are pulling things back. So we want to continue to put energy toward what it is that we're creating. And this is a really important thing for us to keep in mind. And maybe Kai would be willing to share, and I can send to everybody the prayer for the Amazon, and so that we can start to support. And the Stand for Trees is amazing. They really support a lot of important work for habitat and animals and the people who are living in the forests. So
yeah, and I vouch for them. You know, there's a lot of organizations right now that support the Amazon, but at the end, very little of the money that goes there actually goes to the Amazon. So I chose Stand for Trees because they're very trustworthy and they have been doing amazing work, especially around the fires. When the fires happened, they're one of the 3 organizations that actually took the money, actually sent people, actually did something. So there's a lot of support, people from all around the world supposedly sending money, but where's the money going? So, yeah.
right.
I'll just give an example just to conclude this. So for example, there are certain organizations that they have a beautiful idea to get toilet seats for the tribes.
Right.
It's a beautiful idea conceptually, but there is no plumbing. There is like to get these things there is almost impossible. So what happens? A lot of people are excited. They get the whole project, and then when actually they find out that they can't do with it anything else, the money kind of disappears and funnels into something else. So it is important I would say this for any organization that we're supporting, to really, really check how knowledgeable they are about the field that they're supporting. And Stand for Trees are people who drink ayahuasca, who are a part of the another organization that I am a part of, calling the Guardians of the Hunikuin, which is one of the tribes that we work with and to protect them. So,
and Kai, will you type that in? Will you type that in, the Guardians? Can you type
Guardians of the Hunikuin?
Yeah, so people will have the right spelling for that. And so, you know, this is also when we make it's like an offering, right? That we are going to the altar and we're making an offering. And so many of us receive so much wisdom and nurturing from the forests and all the forests of the world, and medicine and inspiration, so much spiritual knowledge and so much wisdom that's coming to us from the Amazon. So it's important for us to continue to support and to be in an offering, right? I'm coming to the altar, I'm offering as part of my devotion to my spiritual practice of what are we investing ourselves in the world? What are we investing ourselves into seeing more of in the world? And so to remember that even when we have fear and we have worry about our own selves in the midst of this, that there is still important work to be done that we can be supporting, even if it's just in a very small way. We can still be doing some good work. So Kai, can we do some prayers and some praying, and maybe at some point here be able so that everyone could offer in maybe some names or some you know, like people that are in our prayers and things like that. Can we do something like that?
Mm-hmm. What I recommend in general, I'm staying here with my friend Kyle, and this is like a in-law suite that I'm staying in. But the first thing I did, I built a few altars here. Like you come in here, it looks like a temple. But I built a few different altars, and especially a healing altar. So a healing altar.
And can I just say that there's some people who are in my programs who've been having I've been talking about altars a lot and the importance of altars and what it's all about, because it's a little bit like, well, if I've never done it before, that seems really foreign to me. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the altar.
Remember what we said before about the salutation, that when I come and I shake someone's hand, in that handshake, there's a lot being said. That's what the altar is. It's a handshake with a collective, or what we call a phalanx of beings that are going to work with you. Whatever you're going to represent on your altar, this is like the code that you're punching in, or the email address that you're addressing, right? So I am choosing very specifically what it is that I have on my altar. What is important is to have a candle lit to signify when the altar is active and when it is not active. When the candle is lit, the altar is active. Light is on, beings, please come in. But you don't necessarily want them to be with you at every given moment. Why? Because the altar positively is constantly recycling the energy that you have in the room. So it is taking dark energy, converting it to light, which is the positive part. However, if you're not focused, meaning that you're washing dishes or you're doing something else and you're not so much involved in the activity of the altar, then that energy dilutes. And it's as if someone above there is going to lower a little bit the volume, because you don't need, when you wash hands, you don't need Archangel Michael to stand there with the sword. Right? So the light on the altar is used to signify what level of intensity that you want. So if you feel that you want to have an altar that's active, but you're not constantly focused, you have one light. If you want a healing altar, which will have a photo of someone that you're working on actively, you will have two candles. If you have a very powerful altar, which needs to be round or in the center of your room to do very strong mediumship work, you need to have 4 up to 8 candles on the altar. So it's again, it's a signal to the other side, salutation of what kind of work I would like to create here. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more to it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really want to do a class.
I have different altars. I have an ancestor altar in this other room. I have, here's my Taoist altar, which you guys have to see. The cat is like, he's the master at the back of the altar. I have, you know, these other altars that are doing different functions, so that if I'm going to sit with, like you're saying, a particular stream of light, stream of energy that I'm working with, and I'm going to go and light the candles there, and, you know, light the incense there and pray there. And so you might only have one altar in your space. Maybe you have a small space, and that's totally fine. I'm a little altar centric in my.
You're altered.
I'm so altered.
But remember what I said before about the one that had an altar that's just a stone and a leaf. It's not right. About how many things or whatever, but it is for different works and different type of things. And as we allow ourselves to submit to, not submit, I would not say surrender to the work, being a light worker, then you do that on purpose. So, okay, now I'm building another healing altar for other people, something very specific, and like I'm very aware. And I will probably do a class about altars, because there's so much technology there. Which crystals? Yeah. Why this one? Why not this one? I often see serious mistakes that people do with like certain, like for example, not good to put shungite crystals, the black shungite crystals, because they attract darkness. There are many different things. Anyway, so the altar is a point of activation, and there's also, okay, I'll drop it because if
this will be a different class. We'll get into altars, okay?
They're not allowed. There's a lot of things. But also, I will say that what I'm talking about specifically, it's important to say, is according to the teachings of Spiritism and Santo Daime and Barquinia specifically, specific points that these traditions have, because that is my field of focus. But for example,
and then there's different lineages, there's different ways. The Taoist altar, they're like, you can't put white candles on there because that's death. So, and I had to move my flowers off because the cat was eating them. So I'm trying to figure that one out.
Anyway,
so that's also an important piece, because, even if it is just a candle, right? Just that action of lighting the candle and being present with, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm feeling. This is where my heart is. And just being present and then coming from that place is that's enough. You know, it
You
doesn't
don't
have to
even need
be
that. You don't need.
elaborate, crazy rituals and funny hats and so on. Could be fun, but not necessary. So if there's anyone on here who's been like, well, I don't want to build an altar because I don't want to do it wrong, or I don't want to pray because I don't want to do it wrong, or I don't want to, maybe I'm not going to do this right, or I'm not doing what I'm doing right. I think that coming away from this with, yes, there's lots of tools, there's lots of techniques, there's lots of ways that you can engage with this, and there's lots of education that we can keep stacking on and learning and learning and learning. And like, your heart is the source of it all, truly.
What I started with that you already built an altar because that's your heart. Your heart is the main altar. After that, everything else is just periphery. But about if you saying it right, the prayer or not. So I asked my teacher Felipe, which is speaks Portuguese. I asked him, but you know, my pronunciation, I don't always, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right or not. So he told me this. He says, when a baby or a child comes to his mom, it's not important that he says the name properly. Mrs. Ruthie Dunsky. It's not important. He says, mom, eat. And she will still carry him up and still love him and still hug him. So the same thing, God is like, if you say Ganesh or Ganush or Baba Ganush or whatever, if you say it wrong, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're calling. There are two approaches to calling God, the cat and the monkey. So the monkey approach is, if you see a baby monkey, when he's around his mom, he's playing alone by himself, whatever. And then if there's danger, the mom will run away. So the baby has to run after the mommy monkey and hold on to her, right? And that is equivalent to the idea that you need to meditate and you need to pray. You need to take your own action in order to connect to God. And then there's the approach of the cat. The kittens play, and then what happens if there's danger? The mommy cat comes and she takes their here and takes them away. So that is the approach of the devotee, that he just needs to meow. All you need to do is meow and God will be there. God, and God will take you. So it's not about what I'm saying. It's not about what I'm building, what kind of altar. It's how loud is your meow? How authentic is your meow? If you really cry from a meow, from an authentic meowed place, you will be taken. That is guaranteed. Okay, I'm going to read one prayer for us.
Yes, please.
Okay. Before, sorry, just to be do this right. So I have been practicing automatic writing that I've studied from Chico Xavier. If you've never heard this name, it's a very important name. It's a very famous Brazilian medium. Chico Xavier, Xavier, Chico. And there's an amazing movie that I recommend watching called Astral City, about the life of this man and he received an automatic writing for 134 books. It's quite unique, and thousands of letters, and he's a really incredible inspiration for me. And so my prayers are received in the same way, automatic writing, that it just is received, and I read after, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. But in the moment of receiving, I'm an empty vessel. A prayer for easing the collective fear. Dear God, at this moment, many of my brothers and sisters are found in fear. We are all facing a crisis and deal with so much challenge. Each day within this global disaster carries so much strife and isolation. I ask at this moment to stand firm in my faith and act as a beacon of light and support humanity. Ask to be a point of light where my infinite heart can hold space for those in need. I know that though I have my own fears, my faith is stronger and allows me to pray with conviction. I trust in your presence and allow my light to shine bright, illuminating this temporary darkness. As I face my fears, I can feel the underlying current of the collective hurt. I wish to pray not as a cry for help, but as a courageous song of perseverance. I know that my words create reality and choose to sing with devotion and clarity. Dear angels of love, of light and presence, I stand among you and embrace my angelic nature. I offer my heart as an altar of love and open my hands in service. At this moment, I invoke the angelic seal of creation and ask for divine intervention on behalf of humanity, humbly asking for your guidance, and with humility, offer myself as a point of assistance to the divine plan. Guide me what to do, what to say, and how to act so I can support my brothers and sisters. I know with every fiber of my being that I am guided and protected, and trust at this moment of fear that my guardian angel is always with me, empowering my prayers and songs of healing. I allow my mind to be at the service of my heart and let my soul shine and inspire. I am light, and this light dispels all darkness. I am love, and this love dissipates all suffering. I am a prayer, and my essence is truth. I am awake, and my dream is shifting the fabric of reality. Dear God, fear does not govern my choices or decisions. Fear does not guide my actions, nor does it run my life. I am strong when I am in service. I am centered when offering myself to others. I choose to act on your behalf and pray for humanity at this time of need. My heart is but a reflection of your beauty, and my soul a beacon of hope for those in darkness. May my determined spirit be a consoling one and an invitation for love to reign supreme. So be it.
So be it.
And this prayer was from my godmother, Sonia Teja, who's an amazing saint.
Thank you, Kai. That's a beautiful prayer.
I'll just say, I don't know if you followed in the sense of the structure, where there's recognition, calling on the angels, reflecting the light of the clarity that the prayer allows me to see. And at the end, gratitude. Thank you, God, because you help me see that fear doesn't govern my choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like it's almost a witness of the transformation that you're going through the process through the words of the transformation that you're seeking, and allowing it to emerge bit by bit, like piece by piece of the awareness and the understanding that I need in order to engage with this part of myself in a higher way.
Because the process of change starts with standing in weakness. If you don't face the dark, the healing will never start, right? So if I don't acknowledge where I'm at, how can I ask for help to get somewhere else?
Right. And that process,
I'll get you there, but where are you?
Right. And that process, I think it also gives our psyche the ability to dial in and be able to track that process, to be able to understand it, to be able to start to integrate the process. Because so often we're looking at, well, yes, this is where I am and where I would like to be. That seems impossible. Like how we try to get from here to here, and well, okay, I have no more fear. Okay, I have no more fear, but it's obvious I do have fear. So, you know, how do I engage with it so that I can track myself through this process of unwinding towards this new way of being? And then within that, I'm starting to train myself and train my psyche and train my thought processes so that if I'm not in front of my altar and I'm not in the middle of prayer and I'm not in whatever this spiritual situation is, I'm in real life, like taking care of children and taking care of the broken car and whatever, I'm able to more easily take myself through that process on a regular, very mundane level, because I've practiced it. I've practiced that this is the way that my thought pattern works and the way that I function in the world. I get from here to here and I have a process to get there.
There's only one fear that you need to work on, and that is the fear of having fear. Fear itself has no problem. It's a part of your wholeness. It's a part of your well-being. It's a mechanism like anything else. Jealousy, pain, fear, they're all signals in your system. The problem is that we have learned through assimilation, through seeing our parents and our society and our movies, that we should strive to be in the sun all the time. So all the time, happy, happy, joy, joy, and just to be in summer or spring. But life isn't like that. There is, without winter and without fall, the other seasons don't have their place. And so when you're afraid of your fear, it grows. When when you don't have the ability to doubt your doubts, you're in a problem. It's a signal on the dashboard of the car saying, replace oil. But when the symbol comes, you don't fix the light on the dashboard. You add the oil. So if the fear is flashing, you don't need to remove the fear. You need to see what is the underlying problem that this is signaling to you to look at. But you have to, you don't have to do anything. I'm inviting you to approach your inner process with curiosity. It's like, oh, I have fear, interesting. What does it mean? Where is it coming from? We have this misconception about personal development or personal work that it requires a lot of effort. It's hard, and we cry and we go through our shadows and all this screaming. You know, it can be. It's a part of the work, but you can also look at it like a scientist. Wow, so intriguing. This sky is so weird. Why is this emotion coming right now? You can. And because you have more detachment and you do it in that way, you have more distance between you and the feeling, you and the thought, you actually have more ability to respond to it and not react. And back to the technology of prayer, that is actually what prayers do for us. They allow us to have a little bit of distance between us and our own process of healing. The process of healing is happening, you're in it. But when I observe it, I understand why this is going on. There's a beautiful saying by Ellen Watts that life can only be lived forward, but can only be understood backwards. Why is it happening what it is that is happening right now? You'll understand in the future. But right now, be present. Don't why it happened yesterday. Be present. You'll understand. Be observant of what's going on, so the process will be quicker. But be present. Be with it. Allow it. Face it. Accept it. No?
Yeah, please. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Okay, let me read another one.
Yeah, you ready?
Yes, it's called the Creed of Awakening.
Okay.
And it came in relation to a song in Portuguese that I think Mayura is on this call, so I'm dedicating this to her. And the song says, Entrego, confio, Aceito, agradeço. Just one line, which means surrender, trust, accept, and give thanks, which is the entire process of the technology of prayer. The creed of awakening. I surrender to the powers that be, asking to be but a vessel of your divine light, an instrument in the hands of the divine artist, an offering of my grace to the canvas of your creation. I let go of my needs to control and seek a predetermined outcome. I wish to flow like a river and be carried by the winds of change. I surrender my attempts of governing my state of being and allow myself to be guided by your divine plan. I trust in your invisible messengers, allowing their wisdom to influence my choices. I trust in their presence and open my heart to be their altar of truth. I allow and I receive. I open and I often offer freely of this majestic light. I do not fear the uncertainty of this journey, nor do I tremble as I walk with might into the darkness. I stand in my light and allow the wholeness of my soul to be my guiding star. I allow my guides to teach me and choose to follow in their wake. I accept myself for who I am and who I am becoming. I embrace my flaws and offer of my virtues. I allow myself to grieve as I proudly stand in my weakness. I accept my joy as much as I accept my sadness. Within the duality of my being, there is harmony and peace. I stand at the peak of my awakening and sit at the valley of my fear. Within my accepting soul, there is nothing but love and compassion, understanding of the process of living and the adventure of life. I give thanks to the power of love and the angels of truth, guiding me step by step to the miraculous nature of my own awakening force, filling my heart with gratitude and my mind with words of appreciation and joy. Gratitude has become my truest nature and the calling of my soul. It is my guide and my illuminated companion. My tears of joy are filled with devotion, grateful for this opportunity to share of my overflowing love. Dear God, I awaken to your glory and surrender to your peace. I trust in your presence and accept your all-enveloping love. I have nothing but gratitude to this life and all I have experienced. I have nothing but awe to the perfection of your divine plan. Let me be an instrument of your compassion and a vessel of your light. As my selfishness comes to its end, my love has only begun to awaken. And so I am, and so it is.
So it is.
Hush. Do we have any questions from anyone?
Yes. And you can chat that in, or you can like raise your hand. There's a little hand raise button. I think I took mute yourself away from people because of our issues earlier.
I think you can unmute people though, no?
I can unmute. I can unmute people. I just I can allow people to unmute yourself. Just, you know, be nice. No questions, you guys. Is this resonating with you? Is this feel hopeful and like something that is going to support you? Getting some good head nods. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Cinema, good to see you. Yes. And good, good, great. Um, and so Kai, can we, oh, Maya, yes, I'm unmuting you, go.
Okay. Hi, thank you so much, Kat and Kai. This is really beautiful and uplifting my spirit in this moment. Let me turn off my machine. So I have a question about prayer, and I'm thinking of the man praying under the tree, and being in my heart and being present with what's coming through. And with that, do you find, each of you find that it's powerful or helpful to repeat prayers in multiples or at certain points in the day? Or is it more of a free flow, personal inspiration?
Kat, do you want to answer? I haven't. I'll add to you.
I think both, really, because sometimes the prayer for me will be, you know, after some other practices and I'm meditating, and then it's just like, oh, this is just rising up from within me, and it is just this, right, this expression of the heart that's coming through, and tuning to what feels important and you know, right now, inside of me, what I'm praying for. And so recently I've been praying a lot for, you know, our healthcare workers, and for those that are suffering and struggling, and those that are in fear and are in need right now. And just that has felt very, very present and potent. But then there are other prayers and things that are done in kind of multiples, in order to have a specific effect. And I know, like, the Kai, we work with the prayer to Archangel Michael, and, you know, is done multiple times, which is given to the effect. And I've been working with some Taoist chants, which are done specifically where they're done to basically the corners. So they're like to all of the different directions. So you're praying to the different directions, so that the energy field of the prayer is actually moving out exponentially in every direction. So that's also a practice that I've been utilizing recently in working with the Taoist prayers.
Thank you.
I'll add to that. It's funny because I wanted to talk about this earlier and I forgot. So thank you for bringing it back, and thank you for the flowers. So before the repetition part, right? We're repeating the same prayer twice. Coming back to the farmer, that was received because it was spontaneous. It was on the spot. It was real and relatable for him. But for example, in Brazil, for example, I'll say a short prayer, once in Portuguese and once in English, okay? Ave Maria, cheia de graça, o Senhor é convosco, bendita sois vós entre as mulheres, bendito é o fruto do vosso ventre, Jesus. Santa Maria, Mãe de Deus, rogai a Deus por nós pecadores agora e na hora de nossa morte. Amém. Jesus, Maria, José. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray to God for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Okay, this is probably the most Catholic prayer that can be, right? We've heard this, or if we're Catholic, we had to say this a million times. If we're not, we heard it. That's very archaic. This is hundreds of thousands of years old prayer, which carries that power. So on one hand, it's a prayer that have been spoken by millions of people, millions and millions of times. Look, you can understand prayer like the movement of the neural pathways in your brain. If you only say a prayer one time, that neural pathway is not very strong. It's not the experience of that moment of devotion is a little bit. But if it's something, no, you can pray. It's funny for me because I remember I had a friend, a Jewish friend, a rabbi, and he would pride himself that he can finish the morning prayers in 15 minutes. It usually takes like 30. He can and finish it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, who needs it? You know, you think God is there, like, oh, check, did it. No, absolutely unnecessary. So the prayer is not about how fast, how many times. It's not about that. However, you know NLP, how a certain motion or a certain thing creates a certain feeling in you. So if I repeat, again, NLP, so if I go like this and I can anchor a certain emotion or certain feeling. So if I'm very, very happy, I just had my birthday, whatever, and I'm very happy, and I go like this, then I trigger that now the following day without birthday or anything, I go like this, and my body will respond in the same feeling. When you repeat prayers in that way, but not repeat them just like my friend did, like la 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 to get it through. For example, for me, this Ave Maria prayer, I said it in certain moments of my life, especially one specific moment in my life, that I just say the first word, my whole body is coming to that place of devotion. And I remember what happened there, and I remember the vision I had, and Mother Mary, and I'm in it, you know? Also, you need to understand that prayers, especially old prayers like these are codes, and they change with the time. So this exact same, the Hail Mary prayer, that is probably, I don't know, at least 2,000 years old or a little less. This prayer in that time was, as said, Mother Mary, Mother of God, God is Jesus, holy your womb, Jesus, Jesus, Mary, Mary, Jesus, Mary, Jesus, and we are the sinners now and at the hour of our death. It sounds so Catholic and so scary, and like if you don't pray this, you go to hell and what, right? It's very heavy. But that prayer with time has changed esoterically. So when you mention Jesus Christ, the christened heart, you're not talking about someone that died 2,000 years ago. You were talking about a place of innocence within your heart. That's why the word Jesus also has different names in different traditions, like Juramidan, they're redeemed. It's inside of you. It's not about something outside. It's not an external thing. And Mother Mary is the place of compassion. We're saying, oh, so if I translate this prayer differently, I will say like this. Oh, dear compassion, that place of my compassionate heart, the place of compassion that gives birth to my innocence. I ask to be connected to the cosmos, to be connected to my brothers and sisters. I want to feel in every moment of my life. And I ask that if I miss, if I'm off alignment, bring me back to my center. I ask of you my compassion. So Mary, Jesus, I ask this of my compassion, of my innocence, and of my perseverance. This is the Mother Mary prayer. So you can see it like, oh, Catholic, but you can come to it from such a different esoteric place. But who will make this distinction? Only your heart. It is only your heart that will choose how to activate and how to work with the prayer. Mm-hmm. So, and these prayers are codes. Like, for example, Kat mentioned the invocation of Archangel Michael. It needs to be said 3 times because it's speaking to the past, present, and future. Each one of them is a different one. The 3 known universes. So there is a reason why it is said 3 times in a very specific way, in a very specific moment, invoking very specific types of beings. So I'll say 1 time in English. Invocation to Archangel Michael. Saint Michael in the front, Saint Michael in the back, Saint Michael to the right, Saint Michael to the left, Saint Michael above, Saint Michael below, Saint Michael, wherever I go. I am your love that protects me here. I am your love that protects me here. I am your love that protects us here. Viva Archangel Michael.
Viva.
Even this prayer, we're asking protection from all directions, but what is the protection? I am your love that protects me here. I am love. As long as I remember this, I connect to Archangel Michael. What does Archangel Michael represent? Your higher self. So the saying, as long as you're in your love, you're with your higher self from every and all directions. Above, below, left and right. There is a beautiful hymn by one of my teachers, J. Marks. It's called Instrução. And this is the instructions of Archangel Michael to humanity. And there's a line there that says it all. It says, the instruction for you guys is to hold hands and love one another. That is the instruction. A long song, but that is the point. So whenever we invoke Archangel Michael, which is the representation of valor, bravery, courage, our higher selves, our place of innocence, where we're in alignment, we know what's right. And Archangel Michael has, there are two ways to look at Archangel Michael. One, he's holding a sword and a shield. And in another one, he's holding a sword and a, how do you call that thing, balanced thing that has like scales. He's holding scales. So we have two places of ourselves. He has a sword in both versions because the sword represents decisiveness. Your higher self always knows. Your intuition knows what is right and what is wrong. You know how the ego says, like, I'm not sure, I don't know. No, but your higher self knows. Is this relationship good for me? Not good? You know, stop with all that crying. You know exactly. And you have the shield. Why? Because it's shielding off different beings. So when we are under attack, vicious spirits, different thoughts, and we need the shield of Archangel Michael to protect us from that. But a more important part is Archangel Michael the Just, that is holding the scales. Because the response should also come with compassion. Not just to cut someone's heads off with, okay, you want to break up with this person. Okay, how are you doing this? With compassion, with understanding. Maybe give it another chance. Maybe you were not speaking your truth. Hold the sword, but hold the scales and see. Do the right thing. Not only relating to other people, also to myself. What choice am I making? Am I staying here? Or am I going to another house? Am I staying here? I'm going to be with my sister. Am I taking care of other people? I'm taking care of myself. There is so many options, right? You need to listen to the balance. What is right for me and for my brothers and sisters? So again, every prayer that we choose to say, if it's once, twice, 7 times, it's not so much the prayer, but what is this activating in me? If the prayer that you're choosing to pray is just words for you, even if it's a beautiful prayer or Marianne Williamson or whatever, but you don't feel an emotional connection to it, you don't, then doesn't matter if you read it 1 time, 10 times. But could be such a short prayer like the invocation to Archangel Michael, especially people that work with me know this prayer. This prayer, when you say this prayer, you know that no matter what being in the universe is attacking you, it's gone. So it has a lot of power, or sovereignty prayer, right? People who know the sovereignty prayer, maybe we'll do that later. This is your shield. You can go into hell with this held in front of you and you know I'm coming out. So it's not so much the words, but what kind of activation this has in you. And the more your prayer is said with emotion, the more those neurons will be stronger and stronger, NLPing that experience back to your life. I shared this a while ago with a friend of mine that was saying, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. And I said, what are you saying? Why? You're talking to Mary, a woman of compassion and gentleness. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Be there, be emotional in it. What is, I say, emotion? No. How does it go, Mindy? Energy is, energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. Prayer is the expression of devotion. Mediumship is devotion in motion. Right? If it doesn't have your energy and emotion, It's nothing. It's nothing. It has to be coming from an internal source. Mediumship, the final step, you need to be completely, you call your emotion, devotion, expression, all of it in one. You are lost in devotion. St. John of the Cross, people say that when you saw him pray, you knew God exists. You knew it. Because it's not like, oh, our Father, please forgive us. He would cry. He would be so moved that people ask him, why are you so moved? He says, because he's here. He's listening. How can I not? So imagine, I always say this, imagine that you are invited by Queen Elizabeth from London to see her. Wow, you'll be on Instagram, I'm going to see Queen Elizabeth, and you're going to buy a new dress, and you're going to be so prepared for this. And then Kat walks into the thing, and she has 10 minutes to sit with Queen Elizabeth and talk. She's not going to be on her phone, or she's going to be nervous and like, oh my God, yes, what are like asking questions, be so alert and awake. So this is not Queen Elizabeth. You're praying to the Queen of the universe, and she's right there next to you, listening to what you have to say. This is how your prayer should be. You know that it is already answered. So I'll another story. I don't know how long we still have, but a short story. Also Jewish story. So
we can't keep Kai from telling the stories. Like, I think we're good. We're good. Go for it. We're in charge here.
This is a Jewish story that happened in a village where there was a drought. So there's no rain. And the rabbi said, okay, on Saturday, let's bring everyone into the synagogue and we will make this very strong prayer. But it will only work if everybody's here. Okay. Saturday comes and they were supposed to meet at 9. Checking, one person is missing. And who is this? Who is missing? And say, oh, Yossi, this little boy is missing. Like, oh my God, what will we do? We can't start the prayer. After half an hour, Yossi runs in and say, Yossi, where were you? Why we waited all this time for you? He said, I'm so sorry. I was here on time, but then I realized I forgot my umbrella. So I had to go back home and get my umbrella. It's a drought. But he knew, but we're going to pray for rain. So it's going to rain. I'll need an umbrella to go back home. This is how you pray. So I'm praying for no more coronavirus, then I can go outside to the street because it's over. I know my prayer is absolute certainty. It's not like I'm hoping, please God, maybe. It already happened. The prayer has already been answered before you even uttered it from your mouth, because it is an expression of your devoted heart. If your heart has nothing but devotion, that's what's going to come out. Please, God, take care of my brothers and sisters, my godfather Joao. I want him out of the hospital. You pray with who you are. You pray with the essence of your soul. You can't fake it. That's something that you can fake. Because you're praying, it's you and God. Who are you cheating? Right? I guess that was my cue.
That was your prayer being answered.
Being answered.
Yes. Thank you, Kai. So we have a question about prayer. How do you shift vicious spirits? So maybe this would be a good space to do the sovereignty prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Before, just 2 words what they are. So we're talking about a distinction between 4 different kinds of spirits: mocking spirits, vicious spirits, sabotaging spirits, and hungry ghosts. There are one more kind, which is vampires, but we're not going to talk about them in a moment. The influence of these spirits is by affecting your mental process. So they're going to implant different thoughts that you right now identify as yourself. But in the same way that right now you have in your gut good bacteria and bad bacteria, they're absolutely unaware of you. They don't know that there's Martha around them. They don't know there's Mindy around them. For those bacteria, Mindy is God, Martha is God. You are their universe in which they're existing. If the bad guys, bad bacteria, there are more of them and they're winning, meaning less probiotics, less good ones, how does it look like? Stomach ache, right? Or digestion problems. In the exact same way, if there's too many negative, so this is in the physical, in the astral, there are these, not bacteria, but spirits that are affecting your mental process. If there are many of them, the effect is not stomach ache, the effect is mental depression, mental challenges, bad thoughts. So we describe in more detail each one, how it looks like, but we will not do this now. This prayer is called prayer of sovereignty, and it comes to fend them off because it operates as anything else in the universe operates under the law of free will. And so we're making a declaration that we do not give permission to these spirits to be a part of our reality. So those who wish, repeat after me. I do not give permission.
I do not give permission
To mocking spirits.
To mocking spirits.
Mocking spirits.
Vicious spirits.
Vicious spirits.
Sabotaging spirits.
Sabotaging spirits.
Or hungry ghosts.
Or hungry
Hungry ghosts.
Or their like.
Or
Or
their
like
To be a part of my reality.
be
Be
a
a
part
part
of reality.
I am a sovereign being.
I am
sovereign being.
And it is up to me
and
it is up to me
and me alone
And me alone.
alone
to choose who I invite
to
To
choose
choose who I invite
and who I deflect.
And who
and
is
who
who
I
I
deflect.
Because before and after all,
because
before and
after all,
After all,
I am.
I am.
I am.
Men will say king of the kingdom. Women will say queen of the kingdom. I am
I am.
I am
the king of my kingdom
The queen
queen of my queendom.
and the citizens of my glorious kingdom or queendom
And
And
the
the
citizens of my
citizens
glorious
of glorious kingdom.
are happy,
are happy,
happy,
abundant,
abundant,
and free.
and
free.
Hush, hush.
have
And who are the citizens of your kingdom or queendom? Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. That we're setting them free.
Mhm. And this is an important one to have in your pocket. A lot of times I teach this one for my channeling program, and this is an important one. So often one of the most common questions that is asked is, okay, well, how do I deal with stuff that's coming in that I know that isn't me, and how do I manage that, and what do I do about it? Because it seems like, well, what can you do? And there's nothing to be done. So this is an amazing declaration to have for when you do feel like there's stuff that's going on, and then, you know, to be changing and shifting your own state of mind and the way that you're.
And by the way, this prayer was received during an exorcism, very, very intense and powerful exorcism. And since then, really been used exclusively, almost, at least in our work here in the church, but also in other places now, also in Brazil, people use it. And I have a really, really, really have it in your pocket. This is absolute gold. It's very, very powerful, and a lot of people that work with me use it sometimes on a daily basis. So it's important.
I will share this.
If you are seeing, yeah.
I'll share this with the via email, you guys.
Yeah, and also the prayers I said I can send you guys links to download.
Yeah, we want that. And then Kai is going to have a prayer book that's going to come out hopefully sooner than later, that we're all very excited about, which is going to be an amazing contribution to our communities. and to our own personal practices. So I'm excited for that to happen.
It's called Prayerful Heart, and it will come in a few months, I believe.
Good, yay.
The problem with it is that I'm constantly receiving new prayers.
There's too many
So
prayers.
I
You
don't
need
want to
addendums.
stop the process. And
There's volume one. This is what it is. Mindy?
Spirit Willow had a great question. So it would be great if you guys can answer it. How did you connect to the power of prayer to open in your life?
it happened. It happened. One of the moments that really inspired me was reading a book by Chico Xavier called In the Domain of Mediumship. I think I wrote a couple of prayers before. After I read this book, I wrote like 100 in a couple of months. For me personally, connecting to Chico Xavier and his work and understanding the process of automatic writing was all it needed. And it started to happen. But I would say throughout my life, you know, I often learned a lot of things by heart, reciting different prayers and mantras and different things. So it's something that worked for me. But I also realized something as a teacher, that sometimes I would write articles that would be 3-4 pages long, explain very deep different things. And now in one prayer, it's not only that it is explained. Prayers are like, they're activated codes. So you can hear the prayer. Also, people in ceremony, they're maybe not even focused on the prayer, but their subconscious is hearing the prayer, and then they come out after and wow, something changed in me. So I started to more and more realize the power of these prayers. And actually, one of the moments that really, really changed me was one day I received a prayer for facing abortion. And I was like, wow, because many of the prayers I can relate to, releasing anger, patience, like things that as a man, as a guy, I can, but I cannot naturally relate to a prayer of facing abortion unless it was in my past life. But it was very odd for me. So I wrote the prayer and I read it, and I'm like, I don't know if it appeals to a woman who's having an abortion. It's like, I don't know. So I posted this on Facebook, and in that week, I had 17 women in that week write to me and say, how is it possible that you wrote this prayer? How did you know that I have an abortion? And that what was written, she said, it was me speaking. It's like she was reading it. She said, it was as if I'm saying the prayer. And after that moment, I really, not that I didn't trust in my guides before, but that really, really opened the door for me, that I'm so empty when I receive the prayers, whatever it is that coming about things I know, things I don't know, different subjects that are coming in many different directions. And I can tell you, because I'm writing them, but many of them I read, and they're really important for my own healing process. So because I'm not involved in the process of writing them. I write these prayers usually between 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm just writing, and then wow, and it changes me. So I feel this is a way that my guides are working with me to work on myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that prayer was inspired in me more through working with others and being as a healing facilitator and having people be on my table. And when I would drop into a space of being completely open, that often the prayers would emerge and come through me that were for this specific person. And so I think that was really where my practice with prayer began. And then it, like you said, it just blossomed open. And then it was like, oh, actually, this is a thing that when I drop in is a place that I can go to for myself. And then I think, Kai, you've been an amazing inspiration as well in being in your circles and being able to witness you sharing your prayers. And it's such a vulnerable practice to it's your prayer. It's like, this is like, here, let me just share with you my heart on this little plate. And so I think that has been an amazing inspiration for me. And in creating this series, to be like, okay, this is something that we can work with and be vulnerable and sharing about, and be in community around that, we can develop these systems and communities around what prayer is for each one of us and how we're using it and working with it.
You know, I'll tell you from experience, from many years, I wrote an article called "I Believe in You, God," which is a long story, but in short, it talks about how in a certain moment I realized that in our day and age, it's not so cool to say that you believe in God and angels and unicorns, right? It's like better to say unified field and quantum physics, and to talk about spirit and all this is not very cool. But I had a certain moment where I felt I'm coming out of the closet. I believe in God. That's my truth. That's what moves me. And I realized, I have to tell you, as I'm working with people, because at this moment in my life, this is so, I don't believe in God. I know it's my reality. That is infectious. So I feel it with my prayers and with my work. I give other people permission to believe in their own devotional powers. And they see magic. They see miracles happening. And I believe that it is really our job as facilitators to open the doors for people to express their devotion, to create a community where God is super cool. That to believe in Trump and all that, that's really not cool. And to open and to be vulnerable and stand in your weakness, it makes you amazing, and not like, oh, this like feminine guy and all like all these stupid things. No, the opposite. To be open and really, really see this as my one of my missions in this life. And I'll share that I'm just about to open a new program that's called Mediums at Large. And it's about that process of giving people the tools of spiritism and mediumship so they will open to their guides in this healthy, devotional, loving way. And I really feel that's also what you're doing. You are giving people permission to be a channel, to trust in their intuition, to trust in their capacity, to trust in their truth. And it's very important
Yes.
at this time.
And I'm in the middle, I'm sort of at the tail end of running the Open Your Channel program right now. And one of the other inspirations for this meeting was because in the program there was a prompt to offer a prayer, and to I believe it was a prayer around forgiveness, and there were a couple of very magical, radical experiences that came from people who had not been praying. It was not a practice. It was not a thing. It was like, really, do I have to do this as my assignment? And then doing that, it really opened up something that was life-changing. And so I just really believe that when we do open our hearts and we are present to what's real for us, and then we allow ourselves to express and to be witness and be vulnerable in this way, that we are opening up potential fields of great possibility, of more love and beauty and all the yummy things that are possible in life.
I'll share one thing that happened with Amir. So many people here know Amir. Amir is like a jungle boy, right? He's very rough. We were in a small circle, just 4 people, him, me, and 2 other people. And he wasn't the beginning of his journey with me, so he wasn't used to praying and prayer. He can hear me praying, but he would not pray. There was a certain moment that I said, or I don't remember how it happened, that we realized that his mom's sister is there. And I asked him, Amir, she can literally hear you. Pray for her. And he started praying. He was crying. It was the most beautiful, I can't even tell you how beautiful that moment was. And that led to a healing with his family that you cannot believe. You cannot believe. The information he got from her to say to his mom, and like things that there's no way that he could know. It was so incredible what happened. And why? Because a prayer is the key. It opens the door to what? To your closed heart. When you use the prayer and you open your heart and you're willing to come with that humility, it changes everything. Everything. You're in access to divine beings, to angels. Everything is in your hands. But it requires that first step of humility, that you're willing to pray to something greater. Not just unified field.
We love you, unified field. Okay, beautiful. Let me just make sure that there's no more questions here. Yeah, we had some questions about the book. We got that down. And then Kai, can we offer a prayer so that everyone can, like, I don't know, some sort of like a group little, we can offer maybe people. Mindy, have a question, honey?
Yeah. My question is, sometimes there's not a lot of time, or you just want to get a prayer out quickly. Is it okay just to say, please heal my brother Joel?
What is your heart telling you?
Yes, I mean, if it's coming from my heart, and it's, so it doesn't, because I know sometimes I'm like, oh, I want it to be not clever, but I want it to be, just have some oomph to it.
So they say that when someone is sick, if let's say there's a car accident. If all there is around is a nurse, bring the nurse. If there is a doctor, bring the doctor. If there's a surgeon, bring the surgeon. Whatever is available. It's better that you give that 1 second of heart than, okay, I'll pray later when it's all perfect and everything is arranged and I have the time and I have the altar and I have the candles, and forget. So it's better that you're in the moment. Please heal my brother Joel.
And isn't it powerful just to like say their name, just to, presence their name, just that, 2 words, and that is such a powerful prayer.
You're listening to music and you feel elevation. Just a second, sending this to Joel. Oh, that's it. You don't need to say Mother Mary, and you don't need to employ a lot of workers for this. Send them. It's again, it's all happening in the altar of your heart. Everything is there. If you watch the movie Astral City, you will understand also how important these prayers are, how much effect they have on the other side. So it will inspire you to pray more. But yeah, anything goes. So a collective prayer, you asked.
I asked, yeah, can we do that? Possibly. Would that be good for you guys?
That we do together, like the sovereignty prayer, or?
Yeah, or that we have a prayer, but that we get to maybe, add in someone's name, or, add in something that's, like, because I feel like we all probably have people that we're holding in our hearts right now that maybe if we could just say their name in a healing prayer. And so is that okay?
It's okay.
Great. And so if you want to, at the right time, maybe Kai will signal us the right time we could unmute and be heard and witnessed in our collective field, our unified field here.
Yeah, I think this one. Okay. So I will read a prayer I will read an invocation to Archangel Raphael. And then there's a certain moment they will say, asking on behalf of, and then you can say the name of the person that you would like. It can be a few people also. Okay?
Thank you.
Those who wish, keyboard stopped working. I invite you, as we do this, there's a salutation to archangels or Archangel Raphael. And we take a right hand like this, if you can see, to my left shoulder. This is a way to salute an archangel. So while we're doing this prayer, I invite you to do this. Standing united as the one connected celestial heart, we call upon and invoke the presence of Archangel Raphael, asking on behalf of
Jill Sutherland,
Marion Al Berlingeri, Madeline Berlingeri,
Garland,
Norma Jean.
Mark, Ward, Jimmy, Lisa.
asking for their miraculous healing and recovery, asking for the phalanx of healing spirits of Green Ray to offer divine intervention on our behalf, asking with the purity of our hearts to elevate and console, heal and awaken their body, their mind, and their spirit. We are gathered in all corners of this earth, praying at the altar of love. Our beloveds are a pure dove of compassion and is needed for the continued elevation of humanity. We salute the archangelic force and bow our heads in respect. Guide us at this moment and offer your protective and divine wings as a shield of protection. We invoke the seal of the angelic court and ask for the healing currents of the universe to be present at this moment of need and open the path for self-healing to occur in this moment. So be it.
So be it.
Feel it, feel it. It's a very strong prayer. I can feel the shift. Thank you, Kat. It was very powerful.
Oh, it's a good one. Oh, thank you, Kai. Thank you so much.
Kat.
Thank you so much. I just am incredibly appreciative of you. I'm so appreciative of each one of you. Also, what else? I can see all your faces. And yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, most of you guys know Kai. If you don't, you know, do all the things. Follow him on Facebook and follow his everything and get all the prayers. Do all the things. And you know, Kai's amazing resource and support for all of us, and has been just Kai's been such a incredible support for me and for my work and for my people, and as such a dear brother and friend. So I just appreciate you so much, and so grateful so grateful for you to do this.
Thank you for bringing this beautiful topic up and opening this conversation. And I just want to read what Karla says because it really touched me. Thank you. This has opened me up to prayer again after 3 decades of not understanding it due to my upbringing. This is the start of a new journey. So beautiful.
Yeah,
thank you,
that's
Karla.
so great. Okay, so that's why we're doing this. That's why this has happened. So thank you, Karla. I really appreciate you sharing that. And if anybody else has anything else to share, or anything they want to just place into the container, please do. And let's see, what else? Anything else, Kai?
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
Rachel
just say
saying,
one thing.
thank you so much for doing this. It lifted me up and I really appreciate it for all of us and our loved ones. Yeah, thanks for being here, Rachel. Good to see you.
Even though she's been very still throughout the call.
I'm
My
here.
response is I'm reminding again to pray it forward. So support standby trees, support a friend, send a prayer to someone, send you know an inspiring video, send something that will make them smile. Be what we call a warrior of the light. Be someone that lights a candle and not just worries and in fear, but actively devoting some energy to support. Like, for example, right now, you know what Maya is doing? She's making masks for people. You want to show us?
She's making one for me.
Masks for people who don't have. This is so beautiful. So
Yes, they're amazing, incredible, super styly. They're the styliest ones that you'll find.
Thanks, guys.
And so I know she's probably inundated with orders and people wanting and needing, but I don't know. Maya, are you open for people to reach out to you?
I am. I'm completely inundated, which is shocking. But I'm really honored and pleased to be doing it. And today I got my team onboarded, so we're going to be turning out a few hundred of these in the next few days.
Wow.
So
yes.
If you need one, it's supporting all local people in Los Angeles that are making them by hand. And I got the MERV 16 super filters recommended by doctors to put inside. So
wow. Yeah, I want
yes.
one.
Yes, we all want one. I've already put my order in. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. Maya is an amazing. You can reach out to Maya via
email or Facebook.
Email. Okay, Maya, put your email in the chat.
Okay.
And then, or Facebook, Maya Reynolds. And Maya is an incredible designer who designs the most epic clothes and men's clothes. And she's very invested in local, sustainable, and environmentally friendly practices, and works with people in downtown LA, and you know, being quite ethical in her practices. So
yes.
Support Maya and support the people that she's supporting so that they can continue to work.
Is Ando wearing one of your creations?
On his photo?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't see it right now.
He's covered in plastic.
Yeah. No, that's not
Sorry,
one
guys,
of my.
I actually have to go because I have another call in a little bit.
Okay, good. All right. Well, just thank you, Kai. Thank you. And thank you to each one of you. I am extending such huge, heartfelt blessings for each and every one of you, for your families, for your friends, for your communities, for all of your loved ones, for all of this planet, for all of the animals, for all of the trees, for all of the beings and all of the places and all of the times. May our hearts and our prayers be expressed and opened so that more hearts are open and more prayers are allowed, and more of this this energy gets to flood out into the world. And thank you for doing all the work that you're doing, and being who you are, and supporting who you support, and shining your light in each and every way that you do. Thank you.
Ouch.
Ouch.
May the blue unicorn guide you in your way.
Bye, everybody. I'll be sending out an email in the next couple of days with prayers and all kinds of stuff. 2 weeks from now, same night, but same time, 2 weeks, we're going to have David Beaudry is going to come on. He's a medical Qigong, a Chinese medicine, like Qigong master. He's going to be doing the breath of prayer. So we're going to be doing breath work and prayer. and linking those together of how do you, you know, activate your prayer practice with breath work. So that's going to be super powerful and really fun. And David's also one of my favorite brothers and people, and it's going to be so devotional and beautiful. So just please come to that one too. And then Martha is going to be 2 weeks later. Martha is going to lead us. Martha Cotton, who's here on the call, she's going to be leading us in a Celtic prayer circle using ancient Druidic technology. And it's going to be amazing and beautiful and beyond. I can't wait. So you can use this same link to show up to those next two, and you'll get more emails about it and stuff, I'm sure. But just sending you so much love, so much gratitude, and so many. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Love
thank
you
you.
all.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great
Good
night.
question.
Thank you.